Hi, today I'm going to review Amazing Spider-Man number 33, written by Stan Lee and drawn by Steve Ditko. Okay, I cannot talk like that for very long. So anyways, my name is Jimmy and I'm going to review Amazing Spider-Man number 33. And if you've seen the movie Spider-Man Homecoming, you might recognize this scene, and this is probably in a bunch of Easter egg videos, or at least these panels are in a bunch of Easter egg videos where they show that scene with Spider-Man or Peter Parker, Tom Holland pushing himself up from underneath all that debris that the Vulture had piled up on him. Well, anyways, this is an iconic scene. It's known as an iconic scene, but it's kind of an unusual Spider-Man comic. I wanted to go over a couple things that made this unusual. Now, just to let you know, this is not the actual Amazing Spider-Man number 33. I used to have it, but I sold most of my Silver Age comic books to pay off some debt, but I kept some of the reprints. This one is from a Marvel tale. It's a coverless. I always keep the coverless comics because I can read them and not feel bad about it. But it is Marvel Tales, and it's number 26, published in 1970. So it's still almost 50 years old right now. But anyways, so you don't have to worry about me pulling out some CGC comic book. You're flipping those pages around like they're worthless. It's just a reprint. And then this is, I think it was the final chapter, so obviously it's the last part, but I think it was a 3-issue story with Dr. Octopus. And so you had the cliffhanger from the previous issue, and so here you have your synopsis. So this is pretty well done. You got Aunt May, she's sick, and Dr. Connor becomes the lizard, or was the lizard's, has a serum, but Dr. Octopus and his men stole it, and so Spider-Man's trying to get it, and now he's stuck underneath all the debris. And then we go down here, script and editing, Stan Lee, plot and illustration, Steve Ditko. And so he's piled up, or he's underneath all the debris, and then you go through the whole thought process. And this is kind of unusual back in Silver Age comics, because those comics are usually fast-paced, and so you could actually see this type of scene being done in just 1 or 2 panels. And here he's going through the whole process and building up his strength and getting motivated to push himself up, and then he does it. And so this whole thing took, 5 pages? And so it's very dramatic for a Silver Age comic. And he did it. But then, then you got ads. Whoa, 50% on the hit records. Records? So I don't know what I'm shocked about. Save 50% or buying hit records. And then Jeff back. All right, who was big back then? You got Andy Williams, James Brown, Three Dog Night, Otis Redding. All right, there's some music for you. Why, the music back then is way better than anything we have today. And then you get your order form. I don't think I'm sending that in. All right, so he's exhausted. Whew. And of course, and then he gets washed out. And again, very dramatic. He's tired from the fight, and he's got to find his way through. And then, of course, he gets attacked by Dr. Octopus's men. And normally this probably wouldn't be much of a fight, but he's so exhausted, he might even be sick. And as far as Steve Ditko's Spider-Man fights, this actually is kind of dull. Steve Ditko would draw some really interesting Spider-Man fights earlier on. I think he might have been losing interest at this point, because this is really pretty standard. It's just punching. Punch, 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 punch. And then more ads. And then I apologize for the sniffle there. I'm actually not sick. It was just random. And more punching. And I think what he's doing now is just resting while he takes a beating. This is like pre-Rocky. This is like 15 years before the first Rocky movie came out. And then he swings and gets his strength back, swings. And now he's just punching air, which is better than punching on the concrete. Dang, when your mind's playing tricks on you. And then he's got the serum. This is kind of weird, because that's it for the fight scenes, or the action scenes. And that's what, page 11. And usually the big action scene is saved for like the last 5 to 10 pages of the comic book. And now we have Spider-Man bringing the serum. And see, there's not much action there, but it's just, a lot of word balloons in these Silver Age comics that you actually read them. It takes a long time, which is good. You get your money's worth. More serum stuff. Oh, I think my camera's upside down. I need to fix that. And more doctor stuff. And he's running, and then he's got to, wait, here we go. Always got to read the J. Jonah, even if you don't like to read the comic, even if you're just like looking at the pictures, you got to read the J. Jonah Jameson stuff. Oh, GSI Spider-Man, you want me to meet you right away? You got a tip. Here you go. And then, or is that Foswell? That's Foswell? Oh, now see, I feel stupid. There's J. Jonah Jameson. There we go, look at that bright smile. I think I'll edit that part out. Or no, you can see me make my mistake. I can hear the money rolling in now. Maybe that blasted web spinner's in jail or worse if I'm lucky. Oh, what a beautiful day. Is that face? Steve Ditko drew good facial expressions. Ugly people, but good facial expressions. More ads. Look, fellas. Oh, it's fellas. I thought it was going to be fellas. Look, fellows. People really say fellows. Back in 1970. Hey man, that 1970 was, hey man, you can win your choice of neat prizes. And then taking pictures, and then, oh, wait, what's the side hairs? More J. Jonah Jameson, his hair's all messed up. And then, let's see, she's had a traumatic life. I think that was her brother that got murdered, and so now she's associating that with Peter Parker and his dangerous job, and she doesn't want to be emotionally entangled to someone who's gonna end poorly. All right, so there's more J. Jonah Jameson, and what happened to you, Parker? You look like something the cat dragged in. And then, I'm sure they're gonna negotiate. That fish, it's true. There is a Santa Claus. Whoops, hold on, what's this say right here? We can settle your payment later. You know how generous I am. Yep, that's why I'll settle it now. And they argue here, it's highway robbery. He doesn't realize they're worth twice as much. Good old Jim. Yeah, right there, acting like he's getting robbed. That's funny. Good job right there. That's why I like reading these comics. A lot of little touches that you don't see in a lot of comics today. And then, and then Aunt May. And it's kind of touching for a Silver Age comic book. You don't always see that kind of emotion. And then we get a little bit of a dramatic irony here. She says Peter, and then the doctor, I think it's the doctor, that Peter Parker certainly is a nice boy. He's sincere, well-mannered, devoted to his aunt. Too bad there aren't many more young men like that. Too bad someone like him can't be an idol for teenagers to imitate instead of some mysterious unknown thrill seeker like Spider-Man. So we end on the dramatic irony, and then next issue, the return of Kraven the Hunter. And I used to have that one. I think it's still a reprint. I think it was the same type of fight scenes. We're just punching each other. So I'll do a review of an earlier Spider-Man comic where Steve Ditko probably put more effort into the fight scenes. And I mean, this is a good issue, don't get me wrong. I like the way that it's all the action is kind of front-loaded instead of a normal comic book. And it has a little bit more of an emotional impact than a lot of comic books had back then. So that part's cool. It's just that you can kind of see where Steve Ditko is probably losing a little bit of interest in drawing. And then just, look at this, Paste Pot Pete. Now they were putting out a lot of stuff. Was Stan Lee writing this? See, Stan Lee was writing a lot of stuff in the 60s. And so sometimes you came up with some really lame villains, Paste Pot Pete. And then a little bit later on in this, you get a Thor story, which I might review at another time because I love these Jack Kirby Thors. Jack Kirby Thors are just as great as Steve Ditko Spider-Mans. All right, so that's it. That is a review of Spider-Man number 33, or the first story in Marvel Tales number 26. If you like this video, watch more videos because I'll be making more old comic book reviews. And you can go to my blog, Dysfunctional Literacy, even though I don't really talk about comic books too much on that. And you can also read my book, Crap Is Not a Bad Word, which is on Amazon. And if you like comic books, you'll probably like that book, even though it's not about comic books. And Until then, I'll see you. That doesn't make sense. I never know how to end these videos. So I'll just do a close-up. And there we go. Thanks for watching.